What's the worst piece of financial advice somebody has given you? So when I was 24, I was financially struggling. I had a job that worked me a lot of hours, but only paid me $10 an hour. My parents talked me into buying a brand new 2004 four-door Honda Civic. The pre-interest price tag on it was about $25,000. A few weeks after getting it, my hours got regulated, and it took one entire paycheck to make the monthly note on it. I could not afford the insurance on it. I very quickly realized my parents were bad at money. I knew a guy who had a great job, but never saved any money. One day he was randomly telling me how he saved up $10K in his savings account, and accidentally told his mom that after that his mom scolded him on why he was doing nothing with that money, and he needs to go out and spend it. He said he realized he was being stupid, his words, and he closed that account and spent it immediately. I asked if that sounded like a bad plan. Like what if an event came up where he needed cash for a rainy day or something, and he said something along the lines of that he can always get a job and make money, but while he makes money he should enjoy it. Wasn't sure what to say to him from there, but was impressed at not only the mindset, but also how it seemed to be taught to him by his parents not to ever save money. I used to know a guy whose family had always told him, while he was growing up, that the air was free. He was getting his mail sent to his family home for years as an adult. One day he needs to buy a car and guess what? His credit is trashed. Family threw away his medical bills the same as they did his. The worst part is now I know the biggest hospital in our area has a very liberal charity program. You can get 100% of your bill dropped if you are uninsured and make under $32K. Basically this whole guy's family would qualify for that program if they just did a little bit of paperwork rather than just throw away bills. A friend's family taught them to take out as many store cards and credit cards as they could, and as long as the minimum was paid, they'd be able to live a luxurious lifestyle. They were almost $100K in debt when they finally told me, from dozens of cards and interest. Then I did not want to discuss it further after I offered advice, lawyer, counseling. It's simply how their parents lived, life on credit far beyond means. I could not live with that stress. It's so normal for some people though. Don't make more money, you'll go up a tax bracket and end up paying more taxes, so you'll end up making less overall. This isn't how taxes work, people. If you go $1 into the next tax bracket, only that $1 is taxed higher. You can't make less money by making more money. Edit. Yay. My first awards. Thanks party people. A few people pointed out some edge cases. For example, tiered benefit packages can cause this to not always be quite true. Also, you might notice your immediate paycheck not be as high from working a few overtime shifts as you would expect. That's because the taxes which are taken from that individual check are calculated as though that's how much you make all year. It gets a little more complicated, but it will be worth it come tax time. Overtime is a great way to earn some extra cash if you have the time and energy. Several years ago, my company went under new management. They were going to have to pay us all of our remaining unused PTO. I figured, great, I have a ton of PTO left, like $5,000 worth. I had a lot of unused hours. One of my colleagues said you're going to be hit with taxes. And she said it like, oh, you better be prepared. Don't get excited, they are going to tax the shit out of you anyway, so don't expect much. I get hit with taxes every paycheck, lady. And when I did the math, they didn't take out a higher percentage of that PTO than I normally have taken out of my paycheck. So when I did the math beforehand, I managed my expectations well. Then, I was a manager of a call center. The call center agents made $12.00 an hour, but once I came in, I raised it to $15.50 an hour. One of them complained to me that this means her taxes are being raised and she's earning less. She didn't see the higher number on the bottom of her check for some reason. Your great-great-great-great-grandkid. This is a family heirloom. I've been holding on to it my whole life. Money is a little tight right now, and I was hoping it was worth something. I wanted to sell it because I really need the cash. Pawn shop. This is cool. This is actually what is called a pog slammer. Kids, young adults Hippies back in the 1990s, believe it or not, used to take these cardboard circular discs that had fun pictures printed on them and stack them up and throw this slammer on them, and whatever one landed up they kept. Let's see, yours has a flaming skull and an 8-ball with a peace sign. Very cool, interesting piece of history, and this one is in excellent shape. Unfortunately I already have a few dozen of these, and they're not very big sellers. The best I can do is $10. This wasn't really their fault, because none of us, least of all 20-year-old me lol, could have predicted the fallout from the recession. I was in college when it hit, about halfway through a bachelor's degree. We're not rich, and I was paying for it with loans on a semester by semester basis. Friday, you could get a loan. Then suddenly by Monday you couldn't. Anywhere. Friends were dropping out left and right, unable to come up with the money for the next semester. That's when my parents gave me the worst financial advice I'll probably ever get. Take on a $25,000 private student loan with a variable interest rate of 11%. The logic was, we'd refinance it right after college. Simple as that. We didn't predict. IDK if they should have known. It's whatever, that private student loans would be insatiable. No one would refinance it, and I was trapped with this absurdly high interest loan. Every year I'd try once, maybe twice, and I was always rejected for having too bad a debt to income ratio. The payments, plus the payments of my other loans, were too high to make anything but the minimums, which went straight to interest. It was like I'd hanged myself, but misjudged the length of the rope, and could just barely skate my toes on the ground and keep me alive. Barely. It took years to get out from under it. In the end, some 8 years later, we made the final payment. On a $27,000 loan I paid an additional $23,000 in interest at a 13% rate. Oh, this happened to me. I was super broke, and my friends and I all went to this really nice restaurant after an event. I thought I would just order something small, because I only had $70 in my bank account. To my horror we started sharing plates. People were just ordering and passing everything around, and I was practically in tears trying to figure out what my portion would be, when my friend grabbed the bill before any of us could even see it, and paid for the whole thing. This was a one-off, when I was super broke, and literally couldn't afford it, but there was another time, when we all agreed to split the bill, but I was the only one who threw down a card, before we all went out to smoke. I thought they had put this in, and when I came back the waitress had run my card for the total amount. Same friend takes my card out of the book, flags down the waitress, and brings me a refund receipt. He paid for it all that time too. He pays for it a lot. Sometimes there are really shitty people who hang around him. We're all hopeful he gets it soon. Literally all of us would pay for our own stuff. Don't go to community college. You'll never get a job. Instead apply at X and X colleges. My grandmother, aunt, uncle, and cousin all told me this, and I really considered their advice, because my parents really didn't give a shit what I did. Since I didn't get any scholarships from high school, I decided at least, if I went to CC and didn't get a job I wouldn't have student debt, and I could just do something else. I went to CC for 2 years totally free on FAFSA grants. It was $800 a semester lol, and did so well I transferred to a university with a almost full ride. I'm now a semester away from graduation with a job lined up and all of $4,000 of student debt, which is likely to be forgiven anyway. Not me, but my dad's friend makes a decent more money than him. He owns boats, takes luxurious trips, buys top of the line clothes, and goes to the best restaurant, where he orders the most expensive wine he can get. He always tells my dad to live more in the moment, telling him to invest in himself and enjoy his life. My dad is happily planning his retirement with my mom. This guy doesn't have a dime saved. He will work to the day he dies. About 5 years ago, I had a friend who was trying to convince me to study through a private college because they gave her a free iPad. She never finished the course, but kept the iPad. You only got to keep it once you pay your fees and graduate. Mind you, the price of the course included the iPad, so it wasn't free. So last year, 4 years later, I got a call from the college asking for her contact info. She put me down as a reference and they were chasing her down because she still owed her fees and wasn't entitled to keep the iPad. High school guidance counselor told me not to go to a state school for college. Reasons were 1. I was the valedictorian, so I could do better. 2. If I wanted a good job after school I'd need a name on my resume of more respectable school. And 3. A better school would have more networking opportunities. Yeah, so that was a fucking lie. Now I'm in tons of student loan debt. And my first boss after college had gotten his degrees at the state school I originally wanted to go to. I'm an engineer. He knew I was going into engineering. My mother, who ruined my credit score in my late teens early 20s by using my social, without me knowing, to finance appliances, get cable and other bills, never paid on time, and actually sent me to collections, just asked me to buy another house in my name, so she can open a daycare. Because her trailer is not fit to be a daycare, in return she will take care of my 2 kids for free. She lost her brand new home in 2008 because she couldn't keep up with the payments and actually had to file bankruptcy. I spent all my 20s fixing my credit score and I started saving. She also told me that one of her coworkers told her something was going on with the government and that I should take all my savings out of the bank and hide them in my house. I roll. Recent terrible advice. I got hit while driving on a highway and have a crinkled rear side fender and cracked tail light. I can still drive it, but who knows what damage is underneath. My car is only 5 years old with maybe 60k miles, so it's still a great car. Yet, my early 20s friend said I shouldn't get insurance to fix it and instead just pocket the deductible to save up for a down payment on another car. Or maybe file the claim and pocket the money. My deductible is $300 and I wasn't at fault, so the other person's insurance is likely going to pay my deductible. I just straight up cannot understand where he is coming from. Why wouldn't I get the car fixed so I have a fully functional, reliable car? It's, at most, $300. I just don't understand. Not me, but my roommate wanted his girlfriend, someone he admitted couldn't manage money well, to get a credit card so that it would teach her financial responsibility. It sounded like she was being set up for failure. Making someone get a credit card who is already bad with money is just a recipe for future debt. My husband and I were looking to sell our home and buy another, and the realtor told us to put 99 dependents on our taxes so we make more. She said she had done it for years and it was fine. We left pretty quickly after that. Had a professor in this kind of bootleg college. He clearly took the job as a favor. He was some Wall Street type. He said he doesn't get why students who are young and have no assets don't just borrow a shit ton of money to pay for college, then declare bankruptcy, since they have no assets anyway. Aside from wrecking your credit, student loans aren't dischargeable by bankruptcy. Guy I haven't seen in 3 years or so wanted to talk me into starting a business with him because he just got into college for a bachelor's degree in business. Yeah, sure, let me get my checkbook out in this badly illuminated garage while we are both drunk. Guy also got into MLM and weird self-optimization preachers. My brother-in-law had a piece of the BB fad back in the late 90s. He marketed tag protectors that would slide over the tie tag and protect it, thus retaining/increasing the value of the baby in question. Don't laugh, he made a few millions off of that. Lost it all later, of course. These beanie babies are an investment in our future. 1997, I'm sitting in the office of my college job. An office mate's husband is visiting. He makes a phone call and starts negotiating over a price, like he's selling Manhattan real estate. Turns out he's negotiating the sale of a beanie baby with a 12-year-old. After a few minutes his wife rolls her eyes and yells, "Let the little girl have the toy." I had a college business professor tell us this. He said when we were offered raises at our jobs we shouldn't accept till we had run the numbers on taxes. That our bosses would think highly of us for doing so. It was community college, so at first I thought he was trying to refer to the welfare cliff that people may actually need to worry about, but he made it very clear he wasn't. Don't take a raise if it puts you into the next tax bracket, and pay the minimum on your credit card to establish good credit. Asterisk asterisk as others have pointed out, sometimes getting into another bracket or other threshold may affect other benefits such as food stamps and other government/non-governmental assistance. Mileage may vary. I was specifically talking about taxes. My fill when I mention our retirement plan, I never contribute to my retirement account. Money now is always better than money later. I needed to have a conversation with my husband, how we would not be supporting his mom and dad in their insane spending when they have no retirement plan and make huge financial mistakes on a weekly basis. Good news is they both make good money. 1976 San Francisco. Keep renting. No one will ever pay $35,000 for a 2-bedroom house and garage with a sweeping view of the East Bay. Added later, I went back to visit the old neighborhood a few years ago. Those $35,000 stucco homes up many flights of steps perched on the top of Potrero Hill were now all gentrified, remodeled, gated, and asking $1M plus, and that was 5 years ago. When I got to university and opened a student current account, I received an interest-free overdraft of about £1,200. I wasn't entirely sure of what that meant. My brother informed me, so that's like your new zero, and encouraged me to use it to buy a new gaming PC. For the next few years I really wish I hadn't taken that advice. He's never been too amazing with his money, so I should have seen that one coming. I had a car dealer say this to me once when I asked the price on a 4 to 5 year old car back, quote, "The actual price doesn't matter, it's the monthly payment that you really need to know." Haha, I'm a good mate, but cheers anyway. I walked away wondering how he possibly sold any cars that way. But after reading this sub, maybe I'm wrong. My aunt took me to a car dealership when I was looking to buy my own first car. I was looking at the clunkers I could afford, but she said I should be looking at the new cars. She said, "The total price doesn't matter because you make monthly payments." I suddenly understood too well why she had always been so financially unstable. When my mom said that she will hold my money for me as a kid, my grandfather was pretty wealthy and gave us $50 to $100 each birthday. My mom kept it safe for us. I'm pretty sure she used it at least once to pay the light bill when the power got shut off, so at least it went to good use. Never saw a dime of it myself. Hold on to those French francs, they will be worth a lot someday. I'm not holding my breath. Once you cut up the credit card, you don't have to pay it. My cousin is not doing so hot. I'm pretty sure there are warrants out for his arrest in several states. Don't worry about a career. Armageddon will come before you finish high school. My parents, Jehovah's Witnesses,